Raising a child alone is a journey filled with love, sacrifice, and sleepless nights. But for Emily, a single mother to 6-month-old Sophie, it was a labor of devotion. Her small, cozy home in a quiet suburban neighborhood was her sanctuary, where every evening followed a comforting routine. After feeding Sophie, changing her diaper, and soothing her to sleep, Emily would gently place her daughter in the crib, switch on the baby monitor, and steal a few precious hours to herself. The soft glow of Sophie's nightlight and the faint static hum of the monitor were her signals that all was well. On a humid July night, with Sophie peacefully asleep, Emily settled into the living room, the baby monitor resting on the coffee table beside her. She sank into the couch, indulging in a guilty pleasure, a reality TV show that offered a mindless escape from the demands of motherhood. The monitor's static was a familiar, almost soothing backdrop to the laughter and drama on the screen. But around 11 p.m., a sound pierced through the static, chilling her to the bone. A low, rasping male voice whispered, "Sophie." It was faint, like a breath carried on the wind, but unmistakable. Emily's heart lurched as her eyes darted to the monitor's tiny screen. Sophie lay undisturbed, her small chest rising and falling in the crib, the nursery unchanged. Yet the voice lingered in her mind, a violation of the safety she'd so carefully built. Frozen, Emily stared at the monitor, willing herself to believe it was a mistake, a glitch, perhaps, or her imagination playing tricks after too many sleepless nights. She leaned closer, her breath shallow, scrutinizing the grainy image. The nursery was still, the nightlight casting soft shadows across the walls adorned with pastel animal decals. But then, a flicker of movement caught her eye. A shadow, tall and indistinct, loomed beside Sophie's crib. It shifted slightly, as if bending toward her daughter. Panic surged through Emily, drowning out rational thought. Her legs trembled. As she bolted from the couch, the monitor clattering to the floor in her haste. She sprinted down the hallway, her bare feet slapping against the hardwood, and burst into the nursery, flicking on the light. The sudden brightness startled Sophie, who let out a soft whimper, but the room was empty. No shadow, no intruder, just Sophie, blinking sleepily in her crib. Emily's heart pounded as she checked the window, locked tight as always, its latch cold under her fingers. The closet held only neatly folded blankets, and under the crib, nothing but a scattering of pacifiers. Clutching Sophie to her chest, Emily scanned the room, her pulse racing. Had she imagined it? Was the voice some bizarre interference, a crossed signal from a neighbor's device? Unwilling to leave Sophie alone, Emily carried her to the living room, setting her in the playpen within arm's reach. She tried to focus on the TV, but the comfort of routine was shattered. Then, a sharp knock echoed from the living room window. Emily froze, her eyes darting to the heavy curtains. It was nearly midnight in her quiet neighborhood, where the streets were lined with neatly trimmed lawns and sleeping houses. Slowly, she crept to the window, her hand shaking as she parted the curtain. The street was empty, bathed in the pale glow of a street lamp, but the silence felt oppressive, as if the night itself were holding its breath. Fear overtook her. She unplugged the baby monitor, tossing it onto the couch as if it were tainted, and gathered Sophie, her diaper bag, and her keys. She wouldn't stay in that house another moment. Driving through the dark streets to her sister, Jessica's apartment across town, Emily kept glancing at Sophie in the rearview mirror, her daughter dozing peacefully in her car seat. Jessica welcomed them without question, her guest room a temporary refuge. Emily barely slept, her mind replaying. The voice, the shadow, the knock. Was it a prank, a hacker, or something far worse? The next morning, Emily returned home with Jessica by her side, unwilling to face the house alone. Everything appeared normal. the toys scattered in the living room, the dishes in the sink, but one detail stopped her cold. The nursery window was unlocked. She was certain she'd secured it the night before. It was part of her nightly ritual. Her stomach churned as she called the police. The officer who arrived was kind but skeptical, suggesting a technical glitch or interference. From a neighbor's device, he found no signs of forced entry, no footprints in the soft earth outside, no evidence of an intruder. Yet the unlocked window gnawed Emily, a silent accusation that something had been there. Determined to protect Sophie, Emily replaced the monitor with a high-tech model boasting encryption and a secure app. She installed motion sensor lights around the house and ordered a security camera for the front door. For a week, the house was quiet, and Emily began to convince herself it was a one-time anomaly. But one evening, as she folded laundry in the living room, the new monitor crackled to life. "Sophie," the same rasping voice whispered. Her blood ran cold. Without hesitation, she dialed 911, locked every door and window, and held Sophie tightly until the police arrived. They searched the house, finding nothing, no signs of tampering, no intruders. But Emily knew what she'd heard. That night, she packed a bag and returned to Jessica's, where she stayed for 2 months. The constant explanations to coworkers about her sudden move, the sleepless nights listening for every creak, and the fear that gripped her whenever she thought of returning home took a toll. Jessica's concern was evident, her eyes reflecting Emily's own terror. When Emily finally returned home, she moved Sophie's crib into her bedroom, sleeping with one hand on her daughter's blanket. The new monitor remained in a drawer, untouched, its presence a reminder of the unknown threat. Months passed without incident, but the fear lingered. Late at night, when the house was silent, Emily would lie awake, listening for any sound, wondering if she'd made the right choice by returning. Was it a human intruder, a glitch, or something darker? She might never know, but one thing was certain: she'd never let her guard down again. These stories linger like shadows in the night, each a reminder that the world holds mysteries we may never unravel. If these tales chilled you, hit that like button, share them with friends, and subscribe for more spine-tingling stories. Have a creepy experience of your own? Drop it in the comments or email us, we'd love to feature it. Stay vigilant, stay safe, and remember, the night hides more than it reveals. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next nightmare.